August 15th, the very middle of August, in the year 2020, the insane year of 2020. Particularly the last 5 months, which is 150 days or so? Less than 200 days, but more than 150. The craziness that's going on here. The incredible amount of fear and even more incredible amount of stupidity. We're living in the world that was predicted 70 years ago by George Orwell in the book 1984. Mistrust, distrust, paranoia, fear, everyone being afraid of everyone else, everyone being afraid to think for themselves, because even to think for yourself is considered a crime. To ask a question is considered a crime. And we're living in the year 2020. It's become reality. The book by Orwell. We're living in Orwell's reality right now. I can't ask anybody a simple, pragmatic, rational question and get any kind of answer. You can hardly talk to anybody at all. They're all walking around in fear that the politicians have created. They've made it law that we have to be afraid of each other. They're passing supposedly these laws in secret meetings that no citizens are allowed to attend. Supposedly they're passing these laws, whatever fucking law they want to pass. They get in their little secret meeting with each other. And they pass the law and they post it up everywhere. Now it's the law. You have to do this. You can't do that. A law that we weren't consulted about. A law that there was no debate about. Just some secret meetings. You have to do this. You can't do that. It's the law. And because it's the law, and if you don't obey it, the cops will come and take you away. George Orwell foresaw this day. And no matter how many millions of us read his book, you all thought it was some kind of a joke. You thought, oh, it's just fiction for entertainment, Doesn't have anything to do with reality, because we live in the land of the free and the home of the brave. But in the land of the free, people are told what they can and cannot do, where they can and cannot go, who they can and cannot talk to or be with, what kind of business you can or cannot run. In the land of the free, in the home of the brave, you come within 20 feet of somebody and they shrink in fear and they cringe and they pull their shirts over their mouths. The home of the brave. What a fucking joke. Land of the free. Not a funny joke. It's a sick joke. And nobody's complaining. Nobody's objecting because they've got a supposedly believable pretext for it, a pseudo-medical pretext, which nobody is exercising any kind of rational, pragmatic approach to. If this is a medical problem, let's use our intellect and our reason to figure out how to handle it, how to deal with it. But no, the way they're dealing with it, with this alleged problem, is the same way that 70 years ago in the 1950s, children were taught to deal with the threat of nuclear explosions. Children were taught duck and cover. Children at school classes had drills where they say, okay, now there's a nuclear bomb going off over your head, so duck and cover, children. Take a piece of paper and put it over your head, because if a nuclear bomb goes off in the sky above you, you need to protect against deadly radiation burns, and a piece of paper will protect your skin from radiation burns in the event of a nuclear explosion. Absurdity, bullshit that they were able to inflict and shove down the throats of children who didn't know. Children it's in school had no way of knowing how absurd this logic was. And here we are 70 years later. The children and grandchildren of those children are now walking around with the same duck and cover mentality. A piece of paper is going to protect you from a nuclear explosion. A little thin piece of paper, a little thin piece of cloth is going to protect you against a microscopic virus that's supposedly everywhere in the air that you're breathing, but a piece of little paper cloth mask, a paper mask or cloth mask is supposed to protect you from that microscopic virus getting through the paper or the cloth. Absurd, absolutely absurd. And you can't even ask a person a simple question because they're all fucking afraid and none of them are applying reasoning skills whatsoever. A simple question you can't ask anybody. So that's my first audio entry for August, the middle of August 2020, which I put off because I couldn't figure out my camera how to download from the memory card or how to erase what was on the memory card after I've downloaded it. That's too much of a goddamn hassle. And I couldn't find a working microphone until now. I found this one. So it seems to be a decent microphone, even though it looks cheap. So I'm back on the air for the moment until Big Brother gets wind of this video, gets wind of the fact that I've written down with Big Brother in my blank diary. And then you'll never hear from me again. I will vanish without a trace, just as was always threatened to Winston Smith in the book 1984.